सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते। Page 64, 23rd sloka. rāgecchāsukhaduḥkhādi buddhau satyāṃ pravartate suṣuptau nāsti tannāśe tasmādbuddhestu nātmanaḥ। राग इच्छा सुख दुखादि बुद्धौ सति प्रवर्तते। We pravartana is to behave or express according to what is being entertained in the buddhi. If it is the theme of raga, now sitting in this class, we should not ask which raga. Here we are talking about raga means attachment. In the morning it could be a Bhupali raga, but here it is attachment. Ichha, desire, sukha, dukkha, ityadi. Whatever is the theme entertained in the buddhi, identified with it, we start behaving or functioning that way. Because it is perceived in that buddhi, it exists as a theme in that buddhi. Suṣuptau na asti. All these different themes that are being entertained in the buddhi, when the buddhi is absorbed in the deep sleep, there is no such experience perceived. tasmādbuddhestu na ātmanaḥ. A very mathematical deduction. Therefore, it belongs to the buddhi and not to the Atma Chaitanya. A very simple, straightforward statement. We have this habit of identifying with everything as and when it unfolds. I smear that as my identity and express, because that is what the buddhi is being entertained. Sometimes whatever is being entertained in the buddhi, as the thought is erupting, after several decades of Shravana, we now come to a point wherein we are able to understand that there is this bhavana, there is this theme that is going to erupt. Because the situation, I have already experienced this, it is going to trigger that particular theme. Therefore, we also announce to the world around us, Dekho, whatever you are doing, I am going to get angry. Don't do this. It is already triggered. It is not just a trickling thought. It is going to flood. And if it continues to flood, something bad is going to really happen. I am forewarning you. And then we think that that is good enough a criteria to justify the expression of whatever that frustration or anger that we have identified with. We know before that it is going to erupt. I already see its making. As that making is expressing, I am now busy smearing it. Let me forewarn everybody around. There is this monstrous entity called Hulk. Becomes a gigantic green fellow. So whenever he warns, don't trigger. Because once I identify with that, then it is going to unleash havoc. We are also in different capacities, different sizes of Hulk. We keep expressing whatever happens. Sadness, ready to jump. I become sad. Madness, I am ready to jump as mad. Bhagavan Shiva had Ananda Tandava, and then at the end he had Pralaya Tandava. We have all kinds of Tandava. Sad Tandava, mad Tandava, bad Tandava. There is also Sukhavritti. So there is glad Tandava. Now here, when he says that it is Sukhavritti, this Sukhavritti is not the same which is the Ananda. There is a gladness or a wave of gladness or a joy. Identified with it, we become the enjoyer. Knowing very well that it is temporary, transient, limited, and it will not last long. When we were growing up, the doctors, I think, knew this. And when little children came to the doctor and they had to give them an injection or something, the doctors would distract the young child with not any candy, but a lollipop. The kid has now a prized possession, and that prized possession is given only unto him. So holding that in his hand is already the priya, moda, pramoda, all that motions are happening. చూసి మురిసిపోతుంటాడు. And then, because of how it is manufactured, the other candies you pop it in, chew it up, done. This is not like that. Now holding on to that stick, the sticky thing is not in your hand but on a stick. So you take a swirl at it. And then, what is the effort being done? That which I enjoy, the source of joy, can be extended as long as possible. We have also grown up, but our candies are different, our lollipops are different. We also try to extend it as long as possible. That sukha which is gained is Vishaya Sukha, born from the Vishaya Vastu. Therefore, it is very limited. Ananda is not joy or gladness. Ananda, bliss or happiness, as we try translating it into English, is the very nature. It is not something which is borrowed from, born from any other vastu. So when he says sukha here, it means the Vishaya Sukha. All of these transitions, these different themes that are entertained in our buddhi, even dukkha. You have had a separation from somebody, temporary separation or permanent separation. There has been a separation from somebody that which you have loved very dearly. And then they say, I cannot conceive even of a moment separation without you. What will I do without you? सुने होंगे डायलॉग्स. If that were true, you should not be sleeping. Tired of that, we go into sleep. In the sleep, what is happening? Tannāśe, that buddhi is destroyed, meaning it has been absorbed. Therefore, as the buddhi is absorbed, all these different themes are also wiped out. They may linger in the storehouse. We have to make a choice next time when we wake up to identify with it again. Without that identification, there is no continuation. I have to identify with it again, and that identification seems to continue it. But what happened in that moment of sleep? Completely absorbed, therefore all themes are being destroyed. Therefore, to who does all these different transitions, different themes belong to? It belongs only to the buddhi as an attribute and not to the Atma Chaitanya. Even if we try practicing this from the observatory deck within, to be conscious, to be alert, to be available, to be able to see that this is the theme that is being entertained, this is the theme that is happening, it is moving, and as it is moving, I am the observer of it. Even before it erupts, I can nip it at bud. But we have this habitual error. As soon as that particular theme comes, it is as though I have to oblige with every single theme that is passing by. And every time we slip. In my mind and visualization, in some unknown busy mindset, I have not seen a banana peel. I step on it, thump, fall, Every time I see the banana peel, do I have to keep falling? If somebody says, I am compelled to step on it, I am compelled to fall, I am compelled to go through the pain, whatever attribute you would want to call that kind of mindset. What will you call a person that does this on a regular mode? Whatever is the nomenclature that you have just given. If we keep identifying with our everything that is happening, see, sometimes when we are functioning in the world outside, we need to identify with that thought, express in the field of action. As the action is concluded, withdraw from it, disidentify from it. Not even an iota, not even a trace of it to continue forward. But then, the reminiscence of it, the impact of it seems to continue on and on and on. There seems to be no stopping of it. We seem to carry this into the next experience, ruin the next experience as well, corrupt the next experience. When you go to these high-end restaurants, between each course of the meal, there is a dollop, a small quantity of sorbet given. Why is that? It cleanses the palate so that the next wave of taste can be experienced uniquely designed for that purpose. Similarly, if we have, it has to be a choice, not a choiceless hook that keeps dragging us from one experience to the other. And we say, one experience can ruin the entire day. One experience. How was your day? The rest of it was okay, but that one fellow, that one experience, that one incident, it ruined my whole day. It's a bunch of nonsense. It can only ruin if I have allowed myself to make a choice to carry it forward. Disidentify from it. If you really need to evaluate it, You can always go back to that memory box, pull that experience, evaluate it, finish the analysis, put it back into that folder, put it in that memory, close it, done. No. Ayyo, my day is ruined. Ayyo, my whole mood is off. How can that switch of on and off of that mood, which mode the mood has to function in, that switch has to be in my control. But then I identified with so vigorously that I have become that mode, and that becomes our characteristics. Character of an individual. If you think of a person, oh, that person is, whatever is the next attributes that you write. How is the world deciphering about us in that pattern, and that pattern is universally very beautifully matching also. Because I am persistently entertaining, identifying, expressing in the same patterns again and again and again. And say that is me. And I have had situations wherein, and I said, why don't you change? I said, how can I change, Swami? That is my unique signature. That is who I am. Bhagavan bhi nahi bacha payega. Now, where does this, or how does this process happen? That subtlety is with the same mathematical dexterity being explained in the next few shlokas. Repeat after me. Prakāśo'rkasya toyasya śaityamagneryathoṣṇatā svabhāvaḥ saccidaṃśaśca Why is this not ātmanaḥ? Just like prakāśo'rkasya toyasya śaityamagneryathoṣṇatā, uṣṇatā. This is the very nature of these padartha. Water has to have sapidity. I don't know, I use this bottle of water. I don't know what they made it of. It doesn't wet anything. Then that is not water. It may be something else stored in that water bottle. Prakāśo'rkasya. There is no dark sun. S-U-N. Because the very nature of sun is to bring forth light. When I say nature, there is nothing else that can define it. That's its very nascent expression. Agnehe uṣṇatā. The heat or the fire in India is very not that very hot. The fire in Europe is really hot. It cannot. Then it is not fire. The intensity of exposure can be increased or reduced where there is a very cold environment, sub-zero temperatures. They have fireplaces. In that fireplace, you can increase or decrease the intensity of it, but the very lakshana of it being heat, that cannot be removed. Similarly, svabhāvaḥ, two words, though it is not mentioned here, just for the quick comparison. One is svabhāva lakshana and the other is called guna lakshana. Guna are attributes. Svabhāva is the very nature. Nature cannot be changed. Svabhāva can be changed. That's not svabhāva. Guna can be changed. Swasya bhavaha cannot be changed. A cup of coffee or a cup of hot water, you asked for it because you had some throat irritation, you had a sip of it, kept it aside, you were reading a book or involved and engaged in something. You are so engaged that you did not get back to that cup of water. By the time you came back, now the cup of water it has lost its guna of being hot. If you intend to continue with that as a sense of relief, what do? You reheat it. The hotness or the coldness is not its svabhāva. The sapidity is. Now the guna can be increased, can be decreased, can be removed, can be reinfused. That is the guna. Svabhāva remains constant. And in order to understand what that svabhāva is, saccida̱ndanityanirmalatātmanaḥ. This is the very expression of that nature. These words, seemingly different, are synonyms of the same. They are not the attributes. See, many times we have different names for different environments. If you are in front of your children, you become the father or the mother, the parent. If you are in an environment with your spouse, you become the husband or the wife. If the same you are with your parents, you become the child. You go to the office, you become the boss to your subordinates. You go in front of your boss, you become the subordinate. Sometimes, if there is a meeting, your behavior and expression also quickly changes the cap. When you are talking to your boss in that meeting, the expression is one way. When you turn around and talk to your subordinates, the sense of authority and other things are immediately, the cap is changed. It's like quick succession. If your subordinates are trying to voice something which is not a necessity, you turn and say, no. Actually, what I was trying to tell you was, what happened to that firmness and kadak? All these different expressions are the same individual, depending on the role. Here, that which are being defined is not the role, it is the very nature, svabhāvaḥ. Sat, Chit, Nitya, Sat, Chit, Ananda, Nitya, Nirmalatā. Existence, consciously existing, that which is eternal, Nitya, and it is Nirmala. There is absolutely no possibility of any malinya. There is no malata. It is only Nirmala. Sat, Chit, existence, consciousness and Ananda. A very beautiful work, Advaita Makaranda. There he says, Aham Asmi. I am. That is the base, unchangeable reality. But then with every situation, I want to further contextualize, therefore I wear different caps. I am so and so. I am is the very expression of that existential principle. Do we all know that I know that I exist? I mean, in the airport or bank, you are standing in front of them and I say, how do we know you are you? I am me? No, we need a ID card. And nowadays it also requires a biometric authentication that you are you. You are that which you who claim to be. When I asked you, do we all know we exist? Did you have to turn around to the person sitting next to you? Hey, do I exist? Something wrong somewhere then. कुछ तो कहीं तो ढीला है. I exist. I know that I exist. Of these Svarupa Lakshana, two are already evident. Therefore, the eternal seeking of every individual, whoever it may be, is for what? Is to be happy. It is not for any other parameter. Is to find that happiness which is of the nature of permanency. Even while we are experiencing the most enjoyable moment, we are already looking for what next to enjoy, because this is not reached to that completeness, that fullness within. Therefore, the search is on. Therefore, constantly experimenting with in a wrong environment. We are searching for it in the wrong place. But the search is on for one factor uniformly all across the board. It is to find that Ananda. Why is it such a compelling force that I am forced to find that Ananda? Maybe that is what has to be my Lakshana. Dukkhoham, dukkhakarmoham, dukkhatma, dukkha-sambhavah. Natumam trahimam. Etavan mama lakshanaha. Accept that being a dukkhatma is my way of life, that is my very lakshana, so that I can be happy being dukkha. No, the search is on to be happy. And such individual who is awareful of it can alone be the source of joy and happiness to everyone. A sense of security to everyone around. Because such individual does not have a hidden agenda in every interaction. Therefore, insecurity. Maybe that person is looking for happiness in my position, maybe that person is in the vastu that I have, maybe that person is searching for happiness through. So I have to ensure that this is. It's like the child's mind. Whenever all the neighborhood friends gather in your house, they bring their family, their children also come. The insecurity in the child is now peaked up to the highest level. My dolls and toys. Any kid coming, touching any, that is my favorite, I am not giving it. And as he snatches this, the other fellow is taking something, he will go to that also. Then suddenly, the parent avatar. You see the chaos that is happening there. You come there as Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and then the message is, they are here for a temporary time. It is not permanent. Krishnopadesha. Turn around, in our own toys, we have the same sense of insecurity. All this is to find that which really fills me with that Ananda. Why is that compelling force? Because that is verily my nature. Kadachin naham apriyah. And this is not something that is gained or lost. It is eternal, nitya vastu. Wherever there is an aberration, as earlier said in the earlier shloka, it belongs to the buddhi and not to the atma tattva. Therefore, this atma chaitanya is that padartha which is constantly nirmala. Mala, the aberration, belongs to that buddhi. This is the swarupa lakshana of the self, that which I already am. If that is the case, if that is the thing, then how or why does this happen that constantly I am dragged to be something which I am not then? As natural or as the compelling thing is to be happy, maybe that is also compelling enough and natural enough that is how I have to be dragged. Because I don't see a choice. I said, no, there is a choice. Provided we understand the mechanism of it. And what is that mechanism? That is given in our next shloka. ātmanaḥ saccidaṃśaśca buddhervṛttiriti dvayam buddhervṛttiriti dvayam saṃyojya cāvivekena jānāmīti pravartate. This is one unique shloka of entire Atmabodha. What is the uniqueness? There is only Siddhanta, there is no example. Up until now, there has been always example. ātmanaḥ saccidaṃśaśca buddhehe vṛttihi iti dvayam saṃyojya āvivekena ca. This process is a very subtle process. So gather up your attention and grasp the idea behind. As we have earlier seen, that buddhi is that subtle equipment where the conscious principle reflects. As soon as it reflects, it illumines that buddhi and any vritti that is carried in that buddhi. What is this? Pakka? Confident? This is a pen. Those of you who were meditatively listening and did not have your glasses, suddenly, what did you ask? Pen. It happens so quickly. The question was asked, the eyes perceive it, and immediately we deduce that it is pen. But behind this acknowledgement that it is pen, what exactly is happening? As soon as the question was asked, the sound was received by our ears, the buddhi gets to process it. How does it process? The reflected consciousness which has both the Sat and Chit aspects reflecting, it first acknowledges that sound, that data which is received, that this exists. And now it enlivens it with that Chaitanya. So what is the question asked? What is it that I am holding? What is this? Immediately, the buddhi has processed it. In order to find the answer, now I have to whip one of the organs of perception and action into motion. So I open my eyes, then the attention is focused, and the thought of that perception is, you are not taking the pen from me, but that vritti has now the shape of this pen. It has a blue cap, it has a blue tail. So that shape is now taken in visually. And as soon as that goes into the processing unit, buddhi, this again gets recognized, acknowledged, and then gets enlivened. Pen vritti, the pen thought, has been cognized, has been understood. Therefore, now you again whip the organ of speech. It is a pen. All this process has happened under a fraction of a second. If this were a Yuva Kendra class, then just to make it more engaging, I would then suddenly throw this pen at them. To show the complexity of analysis. So the question that I ask is, if I throw something at you, what will you do? Most of them will say, I will catch. Some will say, it depends what you are throwing. Some will say, I will duck. Some will mock at someone specifically, say, he will get hit. Doesn't know how to catch. One unique fellow gave the answer, I will throw it back at you. All different kinds of answers. The point is, if this is coming, the projectile movement at it, without learning physics, something is coming, I have now the data has been enlivened, and the data is being processed, it is coming at certain angle, it is coming with certain speed. The buddhi is already calculating the speed. In order to take an action, what is the size of it, what is the speed of it, what angle, what trajectory is it coming, should I duck, should I catch? Oops, I don't think I have those options. Get hit by it. Whatever is it. The entire field of action is thus perceived, enlivened by this reflected consciousness to enliven it. Both the aspects of Sat and Chit, a strange mixture of it to cognize. That is when knowing happens. Jānāmīti. Is so far we are on the same page? There is a vastu, and that vastu vishesha jnana, vastu jnana has happened. Instead of this vastu, there is the analysis of aham vritti. When the analysis of aham vritti happens, where is it pointing towards? Not the external. It is pointing towards the very core of my own being. Vritti is illumined, and knowing is not happening as separate. It is happening as I, that which is being pointed by that vritti. So whatever is being known, how is it being known? So technically, if we say through our buddhi, it is not a complete answer. That buddhi which is available, which is endowed by the reflected consciousness with sat and chit, that sat and chit now recognizing it, therefore there is knowing happening. In Gurudev's words, he would say, the Triputi, and he would start rolling the words. The knower, knowing, and knowledge happening. Now at all these stages there are possibilities of me cognizing it, yet disidentifying from it, before it can take any shape or form that can impact me from inside. And you say, I get hurt very easily. I am a very, very sensitive person. You say, I am a very sensitive person. What does it point at? That particular thing which triggers this emotion, being highly sensitive meaning anything can trigger. First thing is we could have filtered it at the very perception itself and cut it short right there. The analysis processing has happened. I don't have to identify with it. But as soon as that analysis and processing has happened, I have concluded, I have deducted. And not only that I have concluded it, I have become it. Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati. Sometimes it is not very physical. Sometimes it is internal only. That we keep processing that again and again in a loop. Why did they say that? Why did they say it in front of everybody? This is not acceptable. How can we be so callous? When you are going to work with an environment which will have thoughts, it will prick. So what do? You wear a glove and then go tackle the situation. If you don't have the glove, then it means you go mentally prepared. It will be pricked, but it is a small prick. It is okay. I can handle it. Be done with it. Going again and again into the field of being triggered by anything from outside and then blaming the world that the world is triggering all of this. Therefore, I hate to be interacting with anyone, anything that will give me this trigger. That is the next possible solution. How long? See, there are some situations wherein it is unavoidable. Recently came to be aware of that. Supposing there is a transplant patient and they have to be on immunosuppressants. Therefore, you cannot go out interact because anything and everything can trigger. You don't have the system to protect yourself from within. Therefore, avoid going into any interaction so that you can be fine. That is being highly sensitive situation. And being in that highly sensitive situation, you don't have any other option. Understandable. But being a sensitive personality, the example that we are continuing, is it a choice existence or a choiceless existence? It is a choice that I am making. I am allowing it to consistently impact. Even after the impact, I have the choice of disengaging myself. If there is a disturbing piece of music that is you are hearing and the earbuds have been put into your ears and it is not music, it is noise. What do you do? Ante kada? You remove it. That sense of impact can be removed at several stages, provided we know the mechanism. Sometimes the infiltration has happened, penetration has happened pretty deep out of the outside forces. Even at the deepest layer where the knowing is happening, you know and you come to cognize it is you that which is providing, that buddhi which is endowed with this reflected conscious principle which is enabling that knowing. Who is it? That is your own buddhi. Once you have seen it, turn it off there. Inability to turn it off there because we did not know the process or anything better. We constantly keep falling for various things. Constantly swinging in. And then the trouble actually happens when me being sensitive is one thing. Now I want the world to acknowledge that I am sensitive. Therefore, they should start changing for accommodating me. Such personality become a burden on every environment. Supposing to a particular point to reach, you have several routes. There is one particular route wherein at a particular time where I have to come to the office or whatever interaction regularly, but there are farmers that have loads of truckloads of or tractor loads of things that they carry, and it is not a easy drive because it will slow me down. I know it, I recognize it. What should the intelligent one do? What do we normally do? Either start early or avoid that particular route, take another route. Now my point is, if we are behaving like that overload tractor, expecting everybody on the traffic to accommodate me, what will happen? Everybody around will start avoiding. Am I getting across? Every time there is constantly justification, constantly there will be, I cannot deal with this drama anymore. So therefore, and strangely the irony has the last laugh. Many times, all those that which can irritate us is right next to us, around us. Day in and day out. That is called prarabdha. Last example, because this shloka doesn't come with example, I am going into several examples. Every river that starts from the source, when you go to the source, it is surprisingly a insignificant trickle. Whether you go to the origin of Krishna river, Godavari river, wherever you go, it is just a mere trickle. But in quick succession, as it trickles down that hill, there are various tributaries that join to give it the volume, force and direction. But Gangaji is unlike any other river. If you ever have gone to not just the Gangotri, you go to the Gomukh, right from the glacier, it is a voluminous discharge roaring down. To such Gangaji, when there is a sudden rain, there is a mudslide, and the entire side of the mountain has fallen into that flow, blocking that flow. What will Gangaji do? She will not be crying, ayyo, na flow anta apesindu. It will wait patiently for that weak moment of a crevices giving way, slowly starts trickling in, clearing its path, and once it is almost paved that, it is humanly impossible to remove all that debris. So the officials keep a watch on it and then pass on the information downstream that there is a flash flood warning. Be careful, because all that which has been stored now is going to be unleashed. She waits patiently to find that moment. If there is a big boulder, she will crash on it, find the alternate and move. If you have paid close attention to it, over generations of constant flow towards that rock, the rock is big, but as you go to the point where the flow is constantly rupturing it, the rock has been cut in. And anything else smaller size, it just rolls everything, that by the time it reaches to Kashi, it is all nice lingakar. All the rough edges have been smoothened out. If it is a huge mountain, there it will delicately dance on the contours of it and find its way. It is up to us to how to manage within so that the outside can be meticulously managed. But at every turning point we keep saying, multi turn this koala. Again a rock, again a block. And allow that to impact, becoming a burden on every environment that I go interact with. To say that I didn't have a choice. No, we have a choice. And entertaining that choice with complete discipline and dedication is called sadhana. We'll stop here and continue tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shant Shant Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.